On the tube, Jeff Marshall makes his attempt to get into the record books.
You just spent half an hour to train. You think this is bad? You should try doing it for 19 hours.
While Brian's got the power off for the repair team.
There's 630 volts running through those live rails.
Customer information, there are no more westbound Jubilee Line services from London Bridge Station tonight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the control room at London Bridge. There are no more trains from this station this evening.
It's 12:30 a.m. and although the last train has left London Bridge, Station Supervisor Brian Valentine will be working through the night.
Plenty of contractors coming in. Maintenance work going on. New works, track work, you name it. It's going on. Hello.
Hello, mate. Right, just finished, actually.
Just finished.
Engineering hours on the Underground are severely limited. There are only 4 hours a night for essential repairs to be carried out.
Tube doesn't run all night because we need to do maintenance work. We've got single track tunnels. We're not like New York where they've got double track tunnels. If you imagine those two escalators and the part in between is a tube tunnel. This is the up line and that's the down line. You've now got room to stand there, you've got room to stand there, and you've got room to stand where he is. So you can allow trains to pass. That allows you to work. Where you've got a single track tube tunnel, if you imagine that's your tube tunnel, the train fits there and you may have 3 inches of room. So you cannot expect men to work down there while the current's on. There's 630 volts running through those live rails. So everything must come to a standstill for people to work in safety.
From a hotel in Chesham at the end of the Metropolitan line, Jeff Marshall, a computer technician, and Dave Brooks are planning to get into the Guinness Book of Records.
So if we're going to beat it, we're only going to beat it by about 10 minutes.
Tomorrow, they'll make their second attempt to get to all 275 stations on the Underground in around 19 hours to beat the current world record.
If we're going to make up time, at least one of them is on that run from North Harrow to West Harrow, which I think we can do better on. That's faster. Secondly, if we don't get caught up at Hainault, where we had to wait 13 minutes, if we can get a train that goes direct to Epping, we'll save time there. Why are we doing it? The reason why I'm doing it, I've always been fascinated in the tube, and I'm not about to beat any world records for being the world's strongest man or anything. So, but this is something I can do. We can do. We can beat this record, can't we? We're ready. We'll do it.
Every night, the traction current is switched off on the Underground to allow the engineers to carry out maintenance work on the tracks. It's always a race against time.
At night time I've got a different set of problems, different set of people, but by and large contractors aren't as much trouble as customers.
Never.
That's what I said, by and large they're not. I've got more control over contractors than I have customers.
Tonight, Mark Curry is replacing insulators on the 630 volt rails. Any mistake in the measurements could be disastrous.
The tunnel here, it's very, the size of it is specific to the size of the train. And there's not a great deal of clearance, so if this rail is too high, the top of the train would hit the tunnel. Because working 6 nights a week down here, knowing that you've got a nice warm bed at home, and you're longing to get into it in the mornings, but you change the way that you live. She's loose, go on, bring it out. We don't have that long on engineering hours, and for trains to run in the morning, everything's got to be set and gauged and into position, ready for trains to run safely.
The engineers have to be off the track by 5 a.m. so the current can be switched back on in time for the first train. Jeff and Dave's world record attempt won't get off to a good start if there are any delays on the tube.
Spot on.
It's still dark when Jeff and Dave arrive at their first station.
It's very early, it's 5:10, we're at Chesham. Top left-hand corner of the tube map. Why? Why? Can't I go back to bed? Yes, but in 19 hours' time. Thanks, mate. 1 inch. Guinness World Records say you don't actually have to take a photo of every station, you just have to supply sufficient material to prove that you were there at certain times. Say tube. The one thing they do insist on is a logbook, which I have, which you have to write down where you were, at what time you got to what station, what time you got there. We leave in 4 minutes. Although having said that, the 5:23 has previously left at 5:25. My first part of the journey is the Cheshire branch, up to Amersham, Watford branch, and all the way down to Preston Road in Norfolk Park. It depends where we can change. And this whole lot takes you about just under 2 hours to do, so that's what, about 12, 13, 14, 15 station in 2 hours. It's a very low return.
As their journey begins, Brian Valentine is coming to the end of his night shift at London Bridge.
Morning, Brian. How are you? How's your long shift been last night?
Very long, as you've just said, mate. Long and tiring, thank you, and I'm looking forward to going home.
Contractors?
No, there weren't that many. I was out and about quite a bit of the night. Oh, cool. It's the early commuters that come in on the main line and catch our first trains out of here. I need another supervisor to come in here and take me off. And as soon as someone does that, I'm going to change and get on my bike.
Northern Line running?
Yeah, there was a Edgware, Golders Green to Edgware was suspended, a bit of a problem.
What today?
This morning. Only Golders Green to Edgware, I think it's back in now anyway.
Luckily, Jeff and Dave are nowhere near the signal failures at Golders Green. They're still on the Metropolitan line.
Just having a quick limber up warm up because after an hour and a half your body hasn't moved very far. We're about to run. First run of the day is an 8-minute run, and your body's not expecting it. Suddenly you've been sat on the train for an hour and a half. Suddenly you just go running off down a cold morning, and you just need to warm up first.
6:52.
They're only allowed to move between stations on foot or by public transport.
How you doing?
Morning, fine, in a hurry.
This 8-minute run will take them up the road to Kenton, where they can join the Bakerloo line.
So that's the end of a long night for me, and I'm going home. See you tonight, going? Nice cup of cocoa and off to bed.
At 8:27 a.m, Jeff and Dave have ticked off 41 stations. At rush hour, they have their first panic.
Remember, I've just sat there agonisingly for 2 minutes, not going anywhere. Next train approaching. High Barnet. Didn't lose us any time. It's a High Barnet train, so we've got to change at Camden Town. Right. So we want to be in the fourth one down. Done all the Bakerloo. Got to redo the bit of them, it's put on later, but all the Bakerloo is at least done. Out the way. So Bakerloo line, you can go ahead and have signal failures all you like, because we've done you.
Yes. How fast do you think you're going to do it? How fast?
I've done it before.
The next station.
It's just a matter of whether I can beat the record. So
What's the record?
19 hours, 18 minutes. I've done it in 19 hours, 33. Cheshire, but 5:23 this morning. You just spent half an hour on a train. You think this is bad? You should try doing it for 19 hours.
He's a nutter.
I think we're a couple of minutes down. It's just taken longer to do. I don't know. We'll make up time. Make up time. No sweat. Elephant Castle's 40, 41, 42. Where are we? 43, 44. Was that Old Street?
38:20.
Was that Old Street? So as of Old Street, 45 stations done. Time?
38:20.
What's 75 minus 230 to go.
The current world record is held by a 24-year-old from Nottingham who did the whole network in 19 hours, 18 minutes.
Actually, because we're at 10 minutes down and there's no bus. Where's our bus? 142? Is that?
Edgware, and it's the first bus of the day to get to the Jubilee line.
You're going to Stanmore? Lovely, cheers. What's the time?
9:28:40.
That's really annoying.
Even a tiny delay on the network could mean the end of their chances. They still haven't got to Victoria when station supervisor Simon White gets called to a hazard on a district line track.
I'm going onto the eastbound district line platform. Apparently someone has dropped something on the track. We're going to try and fish it up with this device. Female customers in particular, boarding the train, get on and drop one shoe on the track. Well, then you have to endeavour to get it back for them because you don't want them to go to work with one shoe there. They're boxes. I think that they've got jewelry in apparently. You've got to be very careful doing this, you know. You don't want a train to come in while you're doing this, you'll be in deep trouble. You'd lose your head. And that's without even going to the tower. There's always one difficult one in it. That's it. Sometimes it could be way into the middle of the track and it means discharging traction current. Now, we are not going to discharge traction current for something that somebody dropped on the platform. Silly.
The guys have now been going for 8 hours. They've covered over 100 miles of track and done 110 stations.
And we're at Liverpool Street. We've just done the entire length of the Victoria line. Where have we been? We came down the Northern Line, near Leith, changed at Warren Street, Euston, up the Victoria Line to Walthamstow, changed onto an overground train, wagon train, very efficient service, got us in early, and we're ahead of schedule. Always get the first train. Supposing this train goes and then there's a failure here, at least we've moved up the line. Always get the first train.
At Victoria, Simon White's cleared the tracks and the District and Circle lines are problem-free.
They can't be very important, can they? Or else you wouldn't have dropped them, would you?
No, it's very important.
Just check them to make sure that what you left still here.
Yeah, this is the one.
Open them and check, young lady. You don't want to go when you go to and find. And I'm curious to know what's inside myself anyway.
It's a magnetic bracelet.
Do I get one of them for retrieving them for you?
Yes, sure.
I'm only kidding, young lady. I'm only kidding.
You know,
I'm only joking. The electric rays down there, and if you touch them, you will be a gunner. You will be killed. There'll be curtains. You'll be taken up in a plastic bag, black. Vic supervisor.
5 p.m. and without a signal failure in sight, Jeff and Dave are having to contend with some of the Underground's more remote stations.
Note to London Underground, stations we would like to see closed to make it quicker include, well, the whole Watford and Chesham, obviously. Yeah. Stepney Green, pain in the bum. Shoreditch. Look, no one's here. Yeah, you can close that station. If you got rid of that, that would take off 10 minutes.
They've been travelling for over 12 hours now, and they've got 7 hours to get to the remaining 107 stations. Things are looking good when they get to Aldgate.
We're at Aldgate. Brain's going, hello, we're at Aldgate. What's the time, 6:15? We're at Aldgate. We've just run from Aldgate, and having just done the central, your mind goes, having just done the East London line, and we did the Level Circle line train. If one comes, there's no information at present. We were ahead of time. I was really hoping for a good change, but I don't think we're going to get one.
Things were looking good, but now they've hit a hold-up. Jeff and Dave are over halfway through their world record attempt to visit all the stations on the Underground. At 6 o'clock, they're stuck at Aldgate, waiting for a Circle Line train.
How you doing? He's wasted.
on air condition.
This man needs a drink.
Oh yes, it's not enough refreshment stops on the Underground, I'm sure.
First departure, platform 4, Circle Line service. Due to a stalled train in the Eastern area, a number of Metropolitan services have been cancelled.
Metropolitan, okay.
Therefore advising that the first available train.
The delays on the Metropolitan line, they can catch their Circle Line train. With 100 stations left, they're neck and neck with the world record.
Ready, go.
At 7:45, Jeff and Dave are faced with the prospect of catching one of the most elusive trains on the network, the Olympia service from Earl's Court.
Yes! Olympia train neck. For Earl's Court, this is very lucky. Once every 50 minutes, Olympia trains are as rare as, well, something very rare, and we've got one.
Jeff and Dave passed through Victoria almost an hour ago. Just 2 more travellers out of the 68 million people who pass through the station every year.
This is not a ticket.
What is it?
This is the receipt. So where were you hoping to go with this?
Victoria, yes.
Is this your ticket? Whose ticket is it? It's your ticket. It was bent, that's why you've lost it in there.
Can I go through?
Yes. It just goes on and on. You might get someone come to me now and they ask, how do I get to King's Cross? You'll have someone standing right next to them and you explain. And then the next person say, well, how do I get to King's Cross? And you say, well, didn't you hear what I just said to the last person? You've come the wrong way, you know that. All human life, I think, is here. Come around here, young lady. My favorite time of the day is when there are no customers about. Makes life a lot easier.
At 10:15, morale is flagging when Jeff and Dave arrive at Ickenham.
I'm never doing this again. I hit a bit of a low about 10 minutes ago, he stacked, and I just kind of went, oh, I've just had enough. I don't know whether we're ahead or behind, I actually don't want to know, but as long as we get to Acton Town by 10:30, I'll be relatively happy. But we need a really good connection down to Heathrow at Acton Town at 10:30. If it takes any more than 10 minutes like I did last time, then it ain't looking good. But we'll keep going. You can but try. You never know. Optimism, name of the game. I think we're at about 220 stations. All of this is all done. The whole north bit, the east bit, out to Epping done, Upminster done, the whole of the Jubilee line done, most of the central bit is done, apart from one other bit which we're going to do in a minute. We went to Wimbledon, did all that, did all this bit down by Hammersmith, Richmond, done all that. We've come up the central line to West Ruislip, ran down to Ickenham. We've got to go out to Uxbridge, come back down to Acton Town, nip out to Heathrow, then we're back into town, and it's a case of just nipping across the last few stations over the central line to Bank and home and dry to Morden.
At 11 o'clock, Brian Valentine's night shift is starting again at London Bridge.
I thought I'd go and check out an area around here where some vagrants congregate and cause some mess. I just thought I'd go and have a look round there. And there's our first one, asleep. Hello? 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 You okay, mate? Hello? Are you okay? Right, do you want to put your shoe on then and move? Yeah, then put your shoe on, matey. It's not nice for anybody to be on the streets begging. There's no need for it in this country. We're the fourth largest trading nation in the world, and yet we've got people sitting on the streets. My fear is one day I'll go around there and find one of them dead. If you was to change those electric lights to gas or oil lamps, you'd think it was in Victorian times, wouldn't you? All life goes by here at London Bridge.
Having completed the Piccadilly line, Jeff and Dave have 26 stations to go. They're still in with a chance. Just.
It's 11:32.
We're at Paddington.
At Paddington. And we're now reliant on the Hammersmith and City line that we love. And I'm in a bad mood.
8 to 10 minutes.
Here comes the train. You're in luck.
That's nice.
Front. Hey mate, mind the gap.
Mind the gap.
Yeah. 40. That's a quick one. I'm going for 23:35:02.
38.
That's 12 seconds. We have a nice fast train driver. He wants to go home.
I can smell cigarette smoke down here, and I'm trying to locate somebody smoking, that's all. They may well have got on that last train. There, is it? Not that bloke there, is it?
Customer information for the North.
You're not smoking, are you, matey? No, all right,
Customers for stations beyond Camden Town should take the first available train.
Was he?
And change at Camden Town.
I hope you put it out now. He's got it in his mouth, I suppose.
This is the on the home straight. This is the home straight. Eastbound Central, going to Bank, and finish off just by getting a southbound train down to Morden, and that is it.
They've completed 10 of the 12 underground lines, passed through over 260 stations, and now they badly need a good connection at Bank.
There. Oh, that's perfect. That's so really good. Northern line. Ready, 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 ready. Come on. Well, the good thing is we didn't just miss one. The bad thing is we've got 4 minutes to wait.
Morden train approaching this side. Last southbound this side. Yeah, okay. Staff on board, permission to lamp the southbound out. Permission to lamp the southbound out. Over. There you go. Okay. Stand clear the doors, please. Mind the doors, please.
Counting them all down all the way to Morden for the big 275. And the big question is, what time will we get there?
They've travelled for more than 19 hours, over 300 miles through 275 stations, many more than once, across the whole length of the Bakerloo Central Circle District, East London, Hammersmith and City, Jubilee Metropolitan, Northern Piccadilly, Victoria and Waterloo and City lines, arriving in Morden at 51 minutes past midnight. So, did they beat the record?
Yeah, didn't do it. My head is done in. If my maths are correct, I think that makes it 19 hours, 29 and 13 seconds, which beats my previous time by about 4.5 minutes. It fails to beat the world record by about 10 and a bit minutes. Close, but not close enough.
But with the record still up for grabs on the Paris, Moscow and Tokyo undergrounds, Jeff may yet see his name in the Guinness Book of Records. Next time, Karen has to drive a train for the first time in 3 months.
I had probably 2 or 3 in a couple of weeks beforehand where I had them 10 to jump.
And there are passenger problems at London Bridge.
Call the old building.